Hi, and welcome to the Greenhouse Doctor at Greenhouse Stories, where I share with you some of my experiences in the greenhouse, the garden, and with aquaponics, and some of my experiments and consequently some mistakes, from which come some ideas that will help us together grow some of our own food. Let's take a look at today's topic. Today I'm taking you through the second of 3 aquaponic systems I'm working on. Last time I showed you the Yabby aquaponic system, which is just there behind me. That was a relatively small system at 1,000 litres, and we were talking about how to grow more yabbies or crayfish in a smaller space. Today we're looking at the second one. It's a bigger system just behind me in this black tank. It has some interesting features. It is integrated with the greenhouse, which is here, and I'll show you all the features of that. So here it is. The aquaponics tank itself is a modified rain tank, 4,000 litres, a little bit over 1,000 gallons, with that's the usual rain entry port, and some windows cut in it with some mesh screens on either side, and there's 2 more at the back which I haven't opened up to let some of the light in and air circulate and allow the fish to have some idea of the day-night cycle and get some light in there for them. Compared to the last aquaponic system with the yabbies that I showed you last time, this one's more of a classical setup with a solids lift outlet in the tank there, going out to this radial flow settler, and you can see the water coming through the center there, and then onto a biological filter with the K3 balls there. But this, however, does not have its own sump. The pumps draw the water directly out of this very large 250 litre biological filter, and then convey the water through quite a long path all the way into the greenhouse over there. So many of you who have dabbled or are dabbling in aquaponic setups, this is quite a classical setup. I researched various setups presented by various authors, and I'm not sure if Rob Gray is going to watch this at all, if he will ever get around to seeing this, but if he does, hi Rob. Rob Gray from Rob Bob's Aquaponics and Backyard Farm at Rob's Aquaponics. His videos were quite instrumental, gave a lot of insight and information and help in setting up the aquaponic systems, and I've got 3 running, so hi to you. Anyway, onto the system. Let's follow the water into the greenhouse and see some of the interesting features of this aquaponic system that's integrated with the greenhouse. I'll also paste in now some images of the fish, just for interest for those who are unfamiliar with the silver perch, so that we know what we're raising here. So these are the silver perch that went in, 100 of them in a bag, and here is one of the fingerlings from that bag, a little bit shorter than my small finger and much narrower than my small finger. So there are some of our fish, definitively bigger and grown since they were placed in the tank. Quite happy at the moment. So the water enters the greenhouse via 2 systems, one directly into this upper planting pipe arrangement, and there's a little black hose that takes some of that water further around deeper into the greenhouse. So through here over into that corner. So this part of the greenhouse is established as a partitioned area to keep it even warmer in the winter, and it comes through here lot more planting holes in that upper pipe into here, where it enters an interesting feature, just experimental. It's a heat exchange unit made of aluminium, passing the water through that to radiate some of the heat in the night, and in the daytime to pick up some of the heat that's in here and transfer it back into the tank, using the tank a little bit like a thermal battery. The tank with 4,000 liters has an enormous amount of thermal mass, so it can store some of that heat hopefully and re-radiate that back in the night time. So this feature is experimental and probably doesn't do an enormous amount considering how small it is compared to the size of this partitioned area of the greenhouse, but something I thought I'd throw in. If I were in a very cold country thinking of building a greenhouse, I would consider placing a large rainwater tank, firstly to collect water, secondly to use as thermal mass as a storage, thermal storage battery to keep the heat in, cycling the water in the day, warming it up in the greenhouse, and the tank itself and the movement of water through the system in the night will help maintain the internal temperature of the greenhouse. And this is particularly useful if you're in a climate where it can drop below freezing and you risk your plants freezing through the night. So if budget permits and you're about to set up a greenhouse in a very cold climate, something to think about. From the heat exchange unit, we move on to the next interesting part of the aquaponics system. The water passes through this meandering, convoluted system of pipes where there are plenty of planting holes, and the system is designed to allow us to walk in between the pipes itself to tend to the plants before returning out of the greenhouse. Now, lots of planting opportunities. The silver perch at the moment are very young and not feeding an enormous amount, but when they do get bigger, there's 100 of them. They're going to produce a reasonable amount of waste that will be useful for all this planting space, and also additionally the planting itself is going to be helping with removing the waste and the nitrates from the system. So the aquaponics system in here was an afterthought, so it was added significantly after this greenhouse was designed. Underneath the planting pipes you'll see the old planter boxes in which I'm still utilizing to some part to plant. Now those planting pots, I didn't have anywhere for them to go, so I thought I'd keep them in here. They are still useful. I can plant in between the planting pipes if I want to, but also the mass that they hold is excellent for retaining heat, particularly in the winter, and so an excellent source of thermal mass and thermal energy, re-radiating that in the night. So this area is partitioned as a greenhouse in a greenhouse to have an extra warm climate so that we can continue to grow warm-loving, heat-loving plants like water spinach and maybe ginger, which is here, well into the winter. So you will see that these pipes are suspended above these planting boxes. They're not resting on them, and they're suspended via these chains, supported by these chains, and they're tensioned using these swivel tensioners. So you'll see them everywhere. Now, so this allows us to adjust the height of the planting system or the planting pipes. This is useful because it's a very large system, and over time, as we grow more and more vegetables and plants, the root system is in the pipes themselves is going to cause resistance and propagation delay for the water returning to the tank. And so having these swivel tensioners, I can raise and lower the system to increase or decrease fall and water return as the water resistance increases with root growth over time. So all these features combined give a simple but I feel elegant way of managing the water and the plantings in this greenhouse. So the water moves through the system, through here, hidden a little bit by all this planting, and returns via a lower pipe down there. So there's the upper pipe higher up, lower pipe with more planting opportunities created ahead of time, and it exits again the greenhouse over there. Just remember that if you're going to suspend your pipes like this on the joists, then make sure that your greenhouse is built sturdily and able to withstand the weight of the entire system. Remember, the system is often, the pipes are often half filled or a little more than half filled, and that together can add a significant amount of weight and burden on the structure of the greenhouse if it is not designed to take that sort of weight. So bear that in mind. The water returns out here in what is a charged system, runs down and out there. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term charged system, it's simply a system that uses gravity on the high side, and as the water enters there, its own weight causes the displacement of water on this side, which is lower, and then simply the water flows out, being lower on this side. So here you can see the water return right there. So that is the second of my 3 aquaponic systems, the Perch system. A little bit different from your routine aquaponic system. A few interesting features there. Please subscribe and like, and next time I'll show you the third of the 3 aquaponic systems I've got running. See you again next time.